Two Hip Kicks. Boom, boom, boom. Oh my goodness, I love that intro. Welcome everybody, and thanks for coming in. Oh, TC just did the quick shuffle, doing the curly shuffle. Thank you, TC. Welcome to Finding Music Mojo. I am Don from Two Hip Chicks, and this guy here.
I am TC from TKR Video Central.
And we are having a little bit of a later show tonight. TC, you want to explain to the folks out there why? What's going on?
Because we are a little bit later than usual because we have a special guest. We wanted to accommodate his needs as far as scheduling goes. But he is a favorite channel of both Don and I, and he has done a number of videos on the main topic tonight, as well as other music stuff. And so I thought we would have him on and speak with him about Soundalike records or hit knockoffs, basically. So please welcome to our stage Ben Minnotte from Oddity Archive and his infamous Behind the Box. Welcome to the show, Ben.
Hi,
welcome, Ben.
Thanks for having me.
Always. I first got really interested in this because I was watching your show. Kim and I, my wife and I, have been watching you for about 3 or 4 years now, and we find your stuff hilarious and the way you look at things. You have done a whole series called Record Ripoffs on these things. What got your fascination into these? What really caught your eye when you started, or your ear when you started doing these?
Well, it goes back to when I was a kid, I guess. When I was in 5th grade, I had gotten this record from a garage sale, and I should have grabbed it. It's not too far off here. But it was a Pickwick album, and it was all TV theme songs. Well, at 10 years old, I had never heard of Pickwick. I had my turntable, and I threw it on expecting to hear the actual Happy Days theme and the actual Star Trek theme, and not so much. No. And then a few years later, I bought this, what I thought was a normal hits of the 70s CD compilation. I was a very strange kid, even weirder adult. But
you fit in.
It was a 2 CD set, and it looked like just a good 70s hits compilation. Well, I got it home, and it was a bunch of re-recordings. Still like one member at least of each band, but certainly not the originals. So there was just kind of that long burning angst about it, which I dredged up for archive years later.
God, yeah. Oh yeah, that sounds just like what happened to me, actually.
Yeah, you were mentioning that before we went on, that you bought some of those that have a little asterisk at the bottom of the thing. It says re-recordings.
It's like, what a ripoff. What was worse though is if they didn't put it on the label or the back cover there or whatever, they put it on the liner notes, which is even worse. I was like, that's egregious and horrible, and that's not cool. So
I mean, at least with some of the 70s commercials, they would actually say they wouldn't say it wasn't the original artist, but they'd say this is by Sessions or the original sound or whatever. The band that was doing the Soundalikes, they wouldn't actually tell you these are not the original artists. I always thought that was kind of skeevy.
Yeah, well, that's a way to put it. Yeah, that's not cool at all. So they took a poor innocent child's money.
Yeah,
twice. Well, one was just like a quarter at a garage sale, so that one wasn't too big a deal.
Okay,
but
yeah, that one.
The CD a few years later, that was a whole week's allowance. So yeah.
That's sick. I hate that. Naughty people they are.
Not cool at all. But there's a long history of that, right? We discussed that they were doing Soundalikes way back in the 50s and such too. They were
I know, as you brought up, there was labels that were specializing in this as singles. One of them was just called Hit Records, which I thought was kind of lame.
Yeah,
And
they left off the S at the beginning, as I've been noticing on Archive.
Good point.
Yeah,
good point.
And then there was Embassy in the UK did the same thing, and Bell had a few budget records in the 50s, according to Wikipedia. Yeah. And now there's current albums by the Countdown Singers and the Hit Crew. I'm like, really?
I've got it's been going on a really long time. I've got a few 78s in my collection of knockoffs from Royale and Tops. Wow. So it's been going on probably, I'd say, since slightly before the mainstream arrival of rock and roll. I
think you're right.
I didn't realize they'd gone back that far. That's nuts.
I think Top Records did a bunch of, well, they had their stable of artists, I guess you'll call them, that would do songs that were popular, and I always figured those were kind of a ripoff as well. So our local store used to carry stuff on Top Pop Singles records, and they were hit records by the Fantastics or whatever. I mean, they tell you it was a different artist, and they did try to sound close to the song, but they still weren't the originals. The Topettes and things like that.
Yeah.
Not cool at all. So, do you have a pretty large collection of?
Oh yeah, I've got probably equivalent to 2.5 U-Haul boxes worth, I would guess.
Lord.
But you need a bunch when you do Archive, when you're trying to pick out the worst of the lot. And then I do. I have a little thing called Sergei's Catacomb of Classics, and you need a real nice big collection for that just to draw upon. So. Necessarily be on say a record ripoffs episode, but I found it just kind of a necessity, unfortunately, to keep a big stock of them.
No, these mostly ones that you've gone out and directly looked for, or is this stuff you just kind of tripped over in your travels and your purchasing of other things?
Initially, it was more stumbling on them, but once I started making Oddity Archive, I started to seek them a little more. And in more recent years, I've been starting to get more donations. In fact, I had a viewer from Denmark send me a whole care package, if you will, of these things just in the last couple of weeks. And although it was mostly British stuff that had been exported to Denmark, and now I've got the copies. Mm-hmm. But in fact, Sergei has his next show in a couple weeks here, and I've drawn upon those for some of that. A lot of stuff that was not.
Very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
So let me know. If there's stuff you're looking for, I do find it on occasion. So.
And a lot of it you've also picked up during your thrifting also. I every time I watch a thrifting show, I know you're looking for those because you always, there tends to be at least one of those in at least every other or every third thrifting show.
I'd say probably just about all of them have at least one, and it's not by design or anything, but and a lot of those never get used too. So that's part of why I have so many of them. Just trying to get to the really bad or good stuff for record ripoffs, which I do once a year, and otherwise just have that backstock for Sergei's Catacomb of Classics or whatever else is going on.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Go ahead.
I do have a couple here.
Oh yeah.
Of what I'm talking about, just so you can see. One of which I actually bought, and the other one I was gifted. The one I bought was it's a Pickwick album, so I should have known. The band is listed as
I'm gonna make you big. I'm gonna make you big. There you go.
Sounds of the Woodstock Age. I don't know if you're going to see it on camera. The background's going to screw it up. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
We'll turn the background off for that. Okay, off. So you can actually see what it is. There we go. Even then, it doesn't show up that well.
Woodstock Age.
I'm pretty sure I have that actually.
I was going to say, I think I've seen
I'm sorry.
I haven't run it yet, but yeah. No, somebody sent me a copy of that a couple of years ago, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, these I mean, they're all songs from like 70 and 71. Uh, Woodstock age, if you include Knock Three Times, and I Think I Love You as Woodstock-esque songs.
Is
I
it?
don't. Um, and then this one actually comes from Allshire Records, which is, of course, they do 101 strings and all those. Top
Yeah.
chart hits of today, played and sung like the original hits.
Oh my God.
Actually, not. But,
Top chart hits. Dang it.
American Woman, what else is on here? Everything is Beautiful. A lot of Make Me Smile, Come and Get It. Lot of crap. Basically.
A lot of crap. Yeah, I didn't.
Oh.
Most of mine are on CD, and I didn't bring any down, of course, to show off. But yeah, I didn't come across a lot of LPs, more CDs. When I kind of realized that these things were a thing. Because when I was younger, I wasn't buying a lot of LPs, but CDs for sure. And it grinds my cheese. Let's just say that. It grinds my cheese. So I guess the question is, so you do get this stuff archived, Ben, and
So to speak.
huh?
So to speak.
So to speak. Well, I mean, that's what makes it interesting. So you share this with everybody, which I think is great. I love the stuff you do on your channel. It's a lot of fun, and I spend half of the show going cool, and half the time just eye rolling at some of the commercials that I've seen as well. So, but yeah, the cheese. It's good cheese. What is your favorite type of video to do?
Like recurring episode sort of thing?
Sure.
Probably more like the Halloween episodes, just because they're such a total break from normal archive that I can just kind of go completely off the cliff with those things for a while and not have to worry about, say, a topic or anything. Not that all of them are devoid of topics, but break the formula, because otherwise I do feel like, okay, and welcome to the Oddity Archive. Here's today's thing. That's it for today's archive. So yeah, for strictly selfish reasons.
Oh, totally get it. Is like Halloween your favorite holiday as well?
Yeah, probably. The expectations, I think, are a bit lower than, say, Christmas. It's not so formality heavy.
That's true. That's true.
That depends on it. If you don't live with a Halloween happy wife like I do,
well, no.
who thinks it's the most wonderful time of year is a Halloween song.
Maybe.
Yeah, they keep starting it earlier every year.
Hey, Pearl, thanks for coming by.
Sorry, I was totally ignoring the chat there. Pearl's here. Patrick. Here. Welcome, kids. Welcome. Yeah, we're talking about Soundalike. So the things that this is the one thing that bothered me the most when I was. Well, I used to DJ. TC's heard this story before. And you buy a lot of your own music when you do that, right? You're not sponsored by a label or anything. So you go out and you find the cheapest way possible to pick up the most songs. And that was usually NCD, and it was the compilation kind of things. And a lot of times you trip over the Soundalikes. And it drove me crazy. Crazy. Ethel's here as well. Hello, Ethel. Welcome, dear. So, what other Soundalikes are most egregious, do you think? As far as label wise, maybe.
Pickwick early on, up through probably the mid 70s, is certainly up there on that scale. And just a lot of the stuff that became Pickwick, Design, and some of these other labels. Design did, I don't know if you've seen the record ripoffs with the Beach Boys knockoff, the Surfsiders sing the Beach Boys songbook, which I think is probably the worst thing that's been on record ripoffs. If I had to pick just one, it's the one that stands out at least.
Yeah, it's not great. I did watch that. It's not great.
With Lou Reed, of all people, handling some of the vocals.
Oh, good Lord. That is bad. Yeah, Patrick, Soundalikes is when they explain it, TC, please.
Soundalikes are albums or singles that are released by fly-by-night, usually record labels, that are attempting to sound like the originals, but don't really come all that close, and they're really bad. Some of the ones that are do it on purpose are like the Stars On people, and that's not what we're considering here. We're talking about the really bad ones. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, usually the ones with trying to rip you off to some degree.
Yeah, they're not telling you
Yeah.
unless it's in the teeny tiny print or whatever.
Not
or
the original artists, yeah, and very
Yeah,
teeny
and the
print.
original artist is the name of the group performing it, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so yeah, other than like a remake or whatever, this is like if you bought like, well, Pickwick is probably the most notorious, where you bought an album of hits and you look at it or listen to it and you're like, this doesn't sound quite right. That's because it was a remix or a remaster, or they took like maybe one artist from the whole group and redid the song. So that's why.
Exactly like knockoffs. That's
Yep,
exactly
knockoff.
what it is,
Yep.
Patrick.
Hit Parade, Hit Parade did Motown song. Did they?
So that must have had a one of the labels that specialized in those, because Top Pop Singles did a lot of Motown too. So
Yep.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've got some Motown on some of those hit 45s.
Oh God, yeah, you probably do. Oh, songs. Okay, gotcha. For sure. So yeah, in the chat, you guys, thanks for coming in. By the way, is there any stuff you picked up that you thought was the original real song and turned out to be a remake of it, or a re-recording, a reinterpretation with that tried to be passed off as? Most of the time when they did that, they put like maybe there's a handful of songs that were legit original, and then they throw in maybe half or more, depending, of these songs that were re-recorded with maybe one of the band or something. Or
yeah, re-recordings are an entirely different monster. I mean, they are just, sometimes you'll expect getting like BJ Thomas, who I don't think he's with us anymore. I'm not sure.
No, he's not.
Yeah. Did like re-recording, several different re-recordings of all of his hits over the years. So if you knew you were getting the original Scepter records or ABC, you were fine. But if you were getting something on a smaller label, chances are it was redone. And while he was still capable of doing it, it wasn't the original version, and you knew it from the second you heard it. Those are not real good either, but I understand why the artists do it. It's similar to what Taylor Swift has done recently with her Taylor's Version series.
Taylor, lovely. Yeah.
To hang on to the rights to the stuff, basically.
Okay. Pearl said she loved BJ Thomas. Yeah, but your ear just wants to hear the original,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the
and if you don't mind me running off that idea, it's been going on for a really long time. I mean, one of the first Everly Brothers' greatest hits in the 60s, they went back and re-recorded all the stuff for Barnaby Records. So Bye Bye Love, Wake Up Little Susie, that initial run of hits from 57 to 59. And that came out on Warner Brothers. Or Neil Sedaka would jump labels.
Yeah.
Neil said it too.
Again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ray Stevens has re-recorded, I swear, his entire catalog about half a dozen times.
True. And I've found multiple copies. The Everly Brothers is a good point, Ben, because I have found 2 different labels, and it's the same song, but it's not quite exactly the same. So they re-recorded it. Yeah. Great music.
And a lot of the major labels do make it clear these are not the original recordings, which is something that the smaller labels and the rip-off labels don't do when they're doing re-recordings.
Yeah. Or one that can be a bit dodgy is Curb Records. They put out plenty of legit stuff, but some of those greatest hits I had a Roger Miller one at one point, and it was all re-recordings and much, much later re-recordings.
I've got to write down Curb. I forgot about them. You're right. I'm making a list of all the not so legit record labels.
And then they
That's
had a
what
whole bunch of actual real hit, say, country artists.
Mhm.
They'd license stuff from Capitol most commonly, but yeah, you'd get some duds in there.
Yeah.
Sure. For sure. Is there any you're looking for that I can go through my list of 45 or my boxes of 45s for you?
At this point, there is no sought after ones. All the most notorious ones that I've at least heard about, I've got at this point. So it's just kind of scouring the record bins or taking donations from viewers and stuff, and just kind of picking and choosing from there.
Mm-hmm. So we got a lot of people in now. You want to go ahead and just like reintroduce yourself, Tim? Tell people what you do and your channel and stuff. Talk about that for a sec.
Sure. My name is Ben Minnotte, and I have a little show on YouTube called Oddity Archive. And broadly speaking, it's the audiovisual landfill. It's kind of all the rejects of just AV in general, both content and
He's cutting
sometimes more snarky than others. Depends on what the material is.
It's really cool. You guys need to go subscribe to Ben's channel because it's really neat. There's a lot of cool stuff there.
How did you get started doing Oddity Archive? What brought your interest in doing, hey, I want to do a YouTube show about this kind of ephemera?
Well, I've told this story many times, but back in early to like spring of 2012, I had lost my job at one point, and I just kind of retreated into my own little world of weird nostalgia. I had this kind of nostalgia for things that you wouldn't necessarily think of, or trying to confront things from my past that scared me. So one that hit both targets was, say, the emergency broadcast system, certain terror and nostalgia to it.
Mm-hmm.
But what got the ball rolling was I had come across the Max Headroom incident, a hijacking incident, which occurred on Chicago TV in
Very cool.
quite yet as of mid 2012. So I just started writing what was going to be kind of a one-off article just to give myself something to do. And I found that I write so much from my own voice that it didn't make sense just on the written page. So I have a long background in music and audio, so I had a microphone and stuff. So okay, I'll just do that. And I'd been watching a lot of Nostalgia Critic, Angry Video Game Nerd, and so on. So I just, admittedly, I copped the whole angry reviewer thing early on, but yeah, that's where it started, and it just kind of went from there and grew.
Yeah, you've been doing it for over a decade now.
Yeah,
it seems like, and it is just. I mean, I found you. I found the show myself. I was looking for weather bulletins, and I found your show on Weird Weather Bulletins, and I'm like, wow, I like this guy. I'm going to subscribe, and I have never went back. I really enjoy what you do, just the quirkiness of the topics and such. In fact, I want to use that to segue into another musical topic. We'll go back to the Soundalikes later, but
okay.
One thing that I have had a fascination with since you did a show on it is a gentleman named Peter Limongello.
Right, and I've got that album just out at the shot, actually.
We Kim is forever never going to forgive you because I actually bought one of the albums. But I don't play it around her. I haven't actually played it at all because I had to have my turntable down for a while since I bought it. But the story you told, and I had never heard of the gentleman until I saw your show. And this is the kind of show that is so perfect for what you do, because it allows you to delve into the gentleman's backstory and how this all came about. But I'm just curious, how did you discover Peter Limongello and decide he was going to be a good subject for the show?
Travels, watching old commercials and stuff on YouTube, and a certain amount of my own memories. Granted, I'm more from the generation where it was all the Time Life compilations, but there was that period where you would get something from just one artist. So you had some artists that kind of made their careers or remade their careers with TV commercials. So Connie
Slim
Francis
Whitman.
got a bit of a bump. Slim Whitman, Boxcar Willie, Peter Lemongello. Now that episode was actually going to be a split episode on Peter Lemongello and Boxcar Willie, the two what I consider the most notorious. But Lemongello was just this unbelievable rabbit hole, and somehow I wound up with this 31-minute magnum opus on the man when I hadn't intended to, and I had to cut a lot of that out too.
Wow.
It was just this never-ending, like I said, rabbit hole. So that was just serendipity. I was just kind of it was intended to be more like the more recent one I've done on Boxcar Willie and Slim Whitman, where it was just more like an 8 to 10 minutes a piece. But yeah.
Richard Clayderman is a great one for that too.
Richard Clayderman, Zamfir.
Yep. It's just like, oh, I remember those stupid commercials.
I thoroughly enjoyed the Boxcar Willie and Slim Whitman show too. That was fun to watch. It just amazes the kind of things you can get as seen on TV. I mean, even the collections, some of the Time Life collections, but these Soundalikes, that's where a lot of them came from in the early 70s. I remember all those commercials that had the serious announcers. So you don't forget, mail before midnight tomorrow. Send $4.99.
Yeah, the running joke is so you don't think the better of it.
Exactly.
Do it now. It's a push impulse. No, you got to have this. It's before.
But I will be honest and say I don't really care much for most of Peter Lemongello's.
TC loves him.
I didn't say that. I rather don't like a couple of his versions of songs, but what are you going to do? He's still fun to listen to, but yeah, I'm not surprised he's not quite in your fan base there, Ben.
Yeah, and also bear in mind, I consider myself, fairly open musically, but I also did kind of come from partially when I was a kid, it was kind of the grunge era, and then I was listening to more classic rock, and I grew up in Denver, which is where all the old hippie 60s and 70s underground DJs seemed to land at the time. So I heard a lot of really more deep cuts FM stuff, and that's more my kind of thing. And it was kind of a strange homecoming when I did the AM stereo thing last year, and I was at that station in St. Cloud, Minnesota. That was just like, I used to listen to this guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's always cool. I mean, that was a great show too. Although I don't think the AM stereo thing has actually panned out for you either time. You got a little bit of it, but it wasn't really what you were hoping. I know.
I think it went country station in Fairmont, Minnesota. At least I got some good footage of it, even if it wasn't necessarily my own general musical taste. But I think it was a success, and I got to talk to Al Neff and meet the engineer at WXYG, and so I consider it a success at least.
Always cool. Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to say it wasn't a success in that way. I just AM stereo just seemed to be a passing fad that didn't seem to really take off.
Yeah, the technology just never took off, it seems like, which is kind of a shame because it works quite nicely when it's set up properly, but I could see where it would be an extra cost, and then there's the licensing from Motorola and so on for the proper gear, and
I thought TC was going to go into a rant about AM radio again, but
no. I did that on my show. I'm not going to do it here.
Okay.
Michael says his favorite song comes from an 80s cartoon. There's no telling where you find good music.
Oh, true. Which one? I got to know which one now.
Yeah, now you can.
You just drop that and not tell us which one. Come on. So, what bands do you like then? I mean, Ben, you said you come from that era and that time frame. Do you have some favorites?
You cut out for a few seconds. I mean, can you repeat that?
Yeah. What are your favorite bands? I mean, what do you collect as far as music goes?
Oh, just in general.
Yeah.
Pink Floyd, Creedence Clearwater Revival, The Byrds. If you can make out some of the CDs on the shelf behind me on a regular archive episode, Warren Zevon's entire catalog is up there. Kate Bush is up there. So yeah, I guess you could say a bit of a hodgepodge of maybe the same time period, but stylistically it veers a bit.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. Well, I've been catching up on some of the videos, and I've been watching, Ben's junk, which is fun.
Yeah, for you that would be, because I know you and he are very similar in that way, the way you take things apart and put them together and fix things up. I couldn't do that if I tried.
Yeah, you could. It's not that hard. Oh yeah, Kid Video. That's right. What am I thinking? Oh, how could I forget that? Thank you again, Michael, for that, because now that I've searched it out, it shows up on like every other week or so on the YouTube. Thank you. I don't know why. I didn't watch it that much, but yeah. Kid Video.
You know they want $400 for the album? Probably. That's scary. It was only released in Israel. It's very hard to get a hold of.
If I find it, Michael, it's yours. What are the odds? But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good video. Thank you. Oh, hey, okay. Anna. Oh, Anna, I'm Crazy's here. I'm sorry, I missed you. Hello. I did not say hi to you. Welcome, welcome.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
Yep. No, it's okay.
Robbie Riss is amazing to this day. You got a thing there. You got a thing there.
New topic for you, Ben. Cartoons and music. How many hits came out of cartoons besides the Archies? As I collect all kinds of Saturday morning stuff, and it's like,
no, are we talking just cartoons then, or are we talking like HR Pump and stuff and things like that?
Kid stuff, yeah.
I couldn't tell you. Kids,
Sesame Street.
If you've watched Archive long enough, you know that me and kids music, that's one area that I just don't succeed in. I think I've done 2 episodes on it, and both of them were, I think, far worse for me than they were the audience. I mean, sometimes the fun of making Archive is if it's bad enough. Part of my sick little joy is getting to watch everybody else go, oh my God, recoil to whatever I happen to be discussing on a given day. But yeah, me and kids music just do not get along.
I have a hard time with that.
It doesn't help that a lot of times when you find like kids albums in the wild anymore, they're just trashed. You can't really do much with them. So
I have found a couple decent copies of Cabbage Patch Christmas. But other than that, you're right.
I've got there was the whole series, Irwin the Disco Duck / Dynamic Duck, which is knockoff stuff. But a lot of it is just so damaged that I can't really do much of anything with it. I did get one good segment out of it the first time I did. I think that was the first children's music episode. At least there was some good comedy to be mined out of Irwin.
Mm. Yeah, that was a good show. I enjoyed that immensely because I didn't realize there'd been so much of that cottage industry that was manufactured by the ripoff people all on one song, like Rick Dees and his Disco Duck,
Yeah. And on the note of Cabbage Patch Kids, I know I covered that on one of the Christmas episodes, so it has been on Archive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was Tom Chapin, wasn't it? Harry's brother that did that.
I believe you're right. Yeah, I think so. But yeah, it was an interesting album. Well, you gotta. So I play grade everything we do. We sell, records and things. So I play grade everything, and I have to listen to everything to play. Play grade. You have to listen to it. That was an adventure. That was fun.
Yeah. Although on another Christmas one, I do kids records. So I did the Care Bears one, which was Flo and Eddie, who fronted the Turtles. So.
That's a good
and it does sound a bit like a bunch of Flo and Eddie cast-offs, but there is at least something to be had out of it.
Yeah, there's been a lot of well-known musicians and stuff that have done some of that stuff too, like Flo and Eddie and like you said, Tom Chapin. I know there was a whole bunch of. I remember the Sesame Street and Harmony album a few back in the early '80s, very early
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
'80s, I
yeah, I've
think.
seen that one. Yeah,
Lots
Linda
of great stuff.
Ronstadt and Wendy Waldman and a few others on that. Yeah, I think the Doobie Brothers.
Yep, I just had
Oh,
Winkin', Blinkin', and Nod on the trivia show I did this week from the Doobie Brothers off
Yeah,
that
or
album. So
Winkin', Blinkin', and Nod. That was the Simon sisters. Carly Simon was one.
yeah,
yeah.
Carly and Lucy Simon.
True. Michael says cartoons don't have a lot, but Partridge Family, Monkeys, etc. had a great meshing of industries.
yeah, prefab bands always fun. I have a ton of those too.
Prefab bands. Yeah, I can agree with that. I think I like probably of the Partridge Family was probably, I don't know how many albums they put out versus the Monkeys.
Well, the Monkeys did their own music for the most part after the
Right.
first album, but Partridge Family was all session people and David singing and Shirley singing, and that was
Shirley
about
singing,
it.
yeah.
So the
But as far
Ron
as-
Hicklin Singers.
But as far as amount of product they put out, the Partridge Family I think had more albums than the Monkeys did, if I'm not mistaken. But you could tell me better than that.
I don't know.
I don't know. I've never really followed the Partridge Family. Actually, I do not. For all the music I own, I do not have any Partridge Family.
Oh my gosh! Well,
I can fix that for you, Ben, if you like.
Here we go.
Yeah.
He's getting albums now for Christmas.
Yeah, I don't think that's up your alley either. The Partridge Family did 7 studio albums and a couple of new tracks on the Greatest Hits album. I don't know if the Monkees did that many or not. I know they did 4 proper, and then there've been other collections of unreleased stuff, but I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got almost all the Monkees stuff. I'm trying to think here. 5, 6. I think there were 9 albums from their initial run, and then 2 or 3 reunion albums.
Mm-hmm.
And the Missing Links stuff. So 16.
So they did quite a few then.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Michael said, "Oh, Michael dropped a link." All right, we'll check it out. What is the link, Michael? Here we go. We got rid of that. We've been spammed. Brendan, what? Oh, DuckTales.
Wasn't that kind of a Hall & Oates knockoff?
Might have
That
been.
theme song. I always hear "You Make My Dreams" when I hear the DuckTales theme.
Yeah, I can see that. I can hear that. Definitely.
Isn't it funny how songs will do that? It's just like, God, that sounds familiar. What am I hearing here? What am I hearing? So going through, you are a huge contributor to the Internet Archives, right?
No, not really.
Not really?
I do have a page, but there isn't that much on it.
Oh, okay. You just mostly produce the stuff for your channel?
Yeah.
And the
Yeah, whatever
archive
is
annex.
on archive.org is like archive episodes that got banned by YouTube. And I think there's 3 of those. And then some, there's supplemental materials if it's a Ben's Junk where I'm going through a catalog or something and I'm trying to select pages, choice pages from it. So you can go dig it up and, look at it instead of me just waving it in front of the camera when I'm doing those things. But yeah, that's mostly what it is. A few like uncensored HBO breaks because they would run a music video or something that I wouldn't get away with on YouTube.
Wow. YouTube.
Org.
I hate that. I hate that. They really just get a little weird. Lead singer of Panic at the lead singer of Panic at the Disco? Really?
Was that the new version of DuckTales, Michael?
Maybe.
Because I can't see him being old enough then to have done the original theme from back in the late 80s. I might be wrong, though. That's probably from the updated version of the show, which started in 2018, 2019, something like that.
That is
I
crazy.
don't know.
That is crazy. So, okay, question then, Ben. If you were going to do a Soundalike, what would
Can you repeat that? You cut out on me.
I said, if you were going to do a Soundalike, if you could pick a song to do a Soundalike of, what would you do?
I kind of sound like Lou Reed naturally, so probably I don't know, an album worth of Lou Reed covers or something. Or I can pull off a Dylan.
Ooh, yeah, Dylan. Ooh, I'd rather hear you do your Lou Reed. Not a big Dylan fan. I was not a big Dylan fan.
Yeah, I'm in that really bad class of singers where I just don't have an appealing voice.
I think you sell yourself short.
Yeah, your speaking voice is lovely. You have if you're doing, I mean, most of the videos you do are, of course, camera down, right? They're not looking at your face, obviously. But your voice isn't unpleasant to listen to at all. It's you do some great stuff, and more than you have a great voice. Really, you shouldn't downplay yourself. But as far as singing goes, I look forward to your album.
My Lou Reed album.
Your Lou Reed, not your Dylan.
Speaking of which, Ben, do you still have is the Oddity Archive soundtrack still available?
Yes, it is. benminnotte.bandcamp.com. 2 N's, 2 T's. And it's called Music from the Oddity Archives. Came out last year. I had to kind of slowly roll it out. I wanted it out in October. Had to do just downloads first, but that's aside the point. It is available for download. It is available on CD and on cassette.
Very cool.
Yeah, so if you've not heard his music, his original stuff, go check it out, because he does the theme, his own theme. He does a lot of other stuff for the show, and he's quite the musician also.
Exactly. I don't think I have the link for that. I have his channel link. Is it in one of the body of your videos, by the way?
Probably somewhere. Does the private chat allow me to?
You can put it in private chat, or you can just go ahead and type it right into
the regular chat so people can find it.
Okay,
sure.
Well, I'm only on StreamYard right now, so.
Oh, okay.
So I just stuck it in private chat.
Yeah. Dave Midwest Picker is here. Hey, you got Mojo, buddy. You just don't know it yet. Welcome, Dave. How you doing, hon? Thanks for coming in. I still make about $2 a month from my movie soundtrack. Great money at indie albums. Yeah. Hey, every little bit helps, right? All right. You put it in the private chat. Let me see if I can. There it is. Gotcha, buddy. Just make it.
Want to get it out to the masses, and we'll put it in the show notes too.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm gonna link up to all of the record ripoff stuff in the show notes after we're done, so people can take a look at all of them, because they're all worth watching. They're very entertaining things. Yeah.
And I believe I think I have a complete playlist of those on my YouTube channel too, if you need easy. Because I've been trying to get better at that, have a complete playlist of record ripoffs, VHS vault, and so on.
Playlists are such a pain sometimes. I'm bad at it too. I gotta do better than I do. For all the stuff I do, I have to do better than I do.
We can all say that. Don't feel bad. Just in case it didn't fly, I'll put it here too. There we go.
Hop over here.
Got it. Now we've all got it. There you go. So yeah, go check it out. Some very cool stuff. And if you guys have not checked out Ben's channel on YouTube, it is Oddity Archive. It's very cool stuff out there. He's got a very great sense of humor about this stuff. Plus, he does some really cool retrospects. I guess you call it retrospective on different things and different artists as well. Do you think, I got a question for you, Ben. Do you think that Slim Whitman's career was spiked at all by Mars Attacks? at all.
I missed that.
Do you think that Slim Whitman's career was spiked by Mars Attacks?
I'm sure he enjoyed the check. I bet you he got a good check for that one, but I don't think it did much for his record sales.
I was hoping.
I have no way of knowing. I think that was where I first heard him, when I saw Mars Attacks when that first came out.
Well, I'm old enough to remember the infomercials or they get this, all his greatest hits kind of
video. The per inquiry ads, those things.
Yeah, so I remembered those. And then, of course, when the movie came out, I was just dying. It was so funny.
I mean, I admit that episode got me to buy a Slim Whitman album, so it worked.
There you go. There you go.
Not necessarily the one that was on TV, but
no.
I did get a greatest hits of his that was comprehensive enough that it rounded up all the big stuff from the early 50s up through the late 70s.
And that song was definitely on that list. So yeah.
Oh yeah, Indian Love Call was on there.
Indian Love Calls, always.
Which has got to be one of the first, I guess, almost psychedelic. That slapback 50s echo, that kind of Les Paul styled sound.
Yep. What? I bet you there will be a boost for Sinatra after Sydney Christmas performance of My Way. Really? Well, maybe. Maybe. Is that out now? I don't remember hearing that yet.
Probably, because Michael's always up on everything before we are.
He is all, yeah. Gotta be out. So, most of the stuff you source, thrift stores, Ben?
Generally, every now and then I'll come across something on Fleabay, as I call it, that catches my attention enough that I pick it up.
Okay. So, do you ever hit garage sales, things like that as well? Or just hit the estate or hit the thrift stores?
Pretty much just thrift stores. My peak in garage sale was when I was a kid. For whatever reason, it just kind of dropped off after that. And every one I've been to over the years has been a total garage sale.
Got it. Which area of the country are you in right now?
I am in South Dakota.
You're in South Dakota.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that might be true. I find some interesting stuff, mostly at thrift stores. I gotta say, most of the weird stuff I find is at thrift stores, but some once in a while, garage sales and estate sales bear fruit.
Yeah, see, we don't have much thrift stores up this way, so.
No?
Yeah, I haven't been to an estate sale in years. The last ones I went to was when I was still living in suburban Denver, and it just felt weird. It was kind of like being amongst a bunch of vultures is what it felt like to me.
Why is everybody through this dead person stuff? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I understand that. Usually, a lot around here, though, they'll do living estate sales. So it's like the person's gone to the home or whatever, or, mom got a divorce and the dad are splitting up and they have to liquidate. I don't know. Weird things like that will happen. So we don't have as much of the feel like you're, picking over the bones of the dead person themselves kind of thing. So I get what you're saying. Garage sales in West Michigan are a waste of. Well, yeah. Those are the drive-bys, Dave. Don't go to those. Don't go to those.
That sounds like the ones that I've driven past around here.
It's just resellers. Yes, I'm a reseller. I'm a scum reseller. Thank you very much. But hey, they're not all resellers, though. You'll know a reseller garage sale when you go into it because it's got a bunch of Amazon returns or whatever. Usually. All right, and so any other information you want to glean from Ben while he's here, TC? Pick his brain.
I was just thinking. I know that you had, when it comes to various topics and stuff, and I had something I wanted to ask you about, and it slipped my mind. So I was laughing about something, and it completely popped out of my head. But it's a topic that I thought would be something that you might be interested in. So if I think of it, I'll email you about it. I was, it was triggered by an earlier discussion. I love it when that happens, especially on live stream.
Keep notes. I keep telling them to grab a Post-it note or grab something.
I still have here, but I do 5 million things at once when we're doing these. So,
hey, Glenn, hi, welcome, Swamp Picker. Welcome. Thanks for coming in, sweetie. We appreciate you showing up. Thank you. Anybody in the chat have any questions for Ben? This is your shot, kids. Do you I gotta while we let them fill in the blanks here. So most of the videotapes that you access are in decent condition enough where the commercials are most of the time there. I know there's a way after a while to block commercials. Those are also from thrift stores and things?
Over time, it's become admittedly more Fleabay and that sort of stuff.
Oh,
I just don't see them in the stores the way I used to.
Yeah,
but I like to get the real bad bottom of the barrel, cheapy stuff I can find on Fleabay. Nothing that looks too collector-ish.
Yeah, it's like sold as blank, but they've got stuff on them. Basically, is how they usually do that on eBay. Do you you'd done a show and you talked about your VCR that you use to clean moldy tapes or whatever?
Yeah.
Is that a thing? How do you do that? Question.
Well, I did an episode called, I think it was Ben versus the Mystery Moldy PAL tapes, something to that effect. I'd gotten a bunch of European PAL format tapes.
Oh, okay.
But they were all moldy, and so I went to the thrift store and just got the cheapest functional VCR I could get, and I just used that. And there's a website that I follow on and off called Lunch Meat VHS, and they're mostly about horror. But the proprietor of that did a really good article on how to do amateur cleaning of moldy tapes. So I've just kind of carried that over and in some cases maybe modified it slightly, but yeah, I won't go into it here. It's just
no. I thank you. I appreciate that. I figured there was a source for that information. I appreciate you bringing that to me.
Don's scribbling down the information.
I am. I'm writing it down.
So you'll be able to use it in the future.
Patrick's like, you mean old like VHS recorded stuff off of TV? Yeah, exactly that. Because that's where you find all the coolest commercials and things.
Yeah, especially the local commercials, which he's done several shows on, are hilarious. I actually recognized a couple of them on a recent show because they were from where I used to live in Ohio. So I'd actually seen them before. It was like, wow.
Throw you back in a time capsule.
I've had some good ones from Ohio.
Yeah. Yeah, still, have you ever come across that weather bulletin from WBNS, Ben? I want a copy of that.
Yeah. I wish I could find more of that truly ephemeral stuff like weather warnings and all, but that's just, it never seems to happen.
Yeah, they're a hard thing to come by. Oddity Archive is you're at your summer break right now, pretty much, right?
We're live, right?
Yeah.
I assume we are. I'm seeing chat stuff, so.
Yeah, we're live.
This week is going to be the season finale. Not that means much of anything right now, but it's going to be actually the much belated TV sign-offs volume 2 to close things out for the so-called season.
Yeah.
But if you've followed me long enough, you know there are other things going on in my life right now that have really cut my output.
Yep.
So this year, the end of the season is just more arbitrary than anything else. It's just kind of whenever I can get the next thing out.
Exactly.
Totally understand that. Mm-hmm. You got to take time for the stuff that matters for sure. Syndicate. What? I sold a case of those not too long ago. Got some more need to list. There you go. Yeah, seriously, Patrick, just throw them up on eBay. Ben will find them. Put on there pre-recorded. sold as blank, and they'll find it. He'll find him.
And I can vouch for Patrick. He's an excellent seller. I've bought several comic things from him.
There you go.
So, Ben, you as I said, your season finale is this week, and then you'll be back probably if your schedule goes like normal, you'll probably be back probably in late summer, early fall, right?
Yeah, mid-July is what I'm hoping for the next regular, normal whole number archive episode. Because if you've seen my channel, it's always episode number 200, 201, 201.5, and so on.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, the next whole number one, I'm shooting for mid-July, but I'd say realistically probably late July. But I'm still doing other stuff. Sergey is going to have a thing, his little radio show. I want to get the first thrifting episode of the year together. I don't have enough footage for it right now, but I just haven't been able to go thrifting much this year. But yeah, I've got plenty of stuff I'd like to do. It's just having the time to do it.
I feel you there. Yeah, we all feel that.
Absolutely. Oh my Lord, with my schedule, it's hard to keep up everything.
For sure. For sure.
Don, what are you doing for the next week?
My week is full. Thank you for asking. So let's see. Tomorrow and Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're doing Chick Chat again as usual. Thursday, of course, is Estate Sale Bingo on Chick Chat at noon Eastern on our channel. Then, of course, tomorrow night, we're doing... Checks in the mail, TC, for that one. And he made that bump for me, and I just have to use it on occasion all the time. It's in their contract. And then, of course, we're also doing Johnny's, on Tuesday, we're doing Johnny's membership appreciation. I never get this right. Sale at 5. So whatnot's after that. And then his hump day auction on Wednesday. And then Glam's Closets Friday. Classy Crap Pride of sale and we're going to be there. I think, what did I say, 8:30, something like that.
I think you said 8:30. Yeah,
I think I said 8:30. So we're going to be busy kids. We're busy kids. So there you go. And you've got all your stuff going on, right, TC?
I do. I have shows every day at 11, 4, and 7 on some days, 7 days a week. So you can come over, check Obscuria every Monday through Friday at 11, and the other variety of stuff throughout the week at TQR Video Central and TQR Mixcloud.
For sure. Thanks everybody for coming in and chatting with us. Thank you, Ben, so much for coming in.
Thank you, Ben, for joining us. It was a lot of fun. I definitely knew this was going to be a lot of fun to do. And I continue. If you haven't checked out Oddity Archive, everybody, please take a look at it, because it is definitely worth it.
100%, 110%. For sure. All right. Thanks, everybody. We will see you next time. 2 weeks it'll be on TC's channel.
And we'll be back to regular time at 7 p.m.
That's right. Regular time. Thanks, everybody. Love y'all. Peace out.
Ciao, baby.
Bye.
Do hip kicks.